The Wii U library is small, but also diverse and exciting. Bayonetta 2 from Platinum Games arrives as a system exclusive to forge its own brilliantly destructive path. Through this new release, Platinum Games moves forward with the storytelling groundwork of the original, as Bayonetta's friendship with Jean kicks off proceedings, with recurring characters such as Rodin also thrown in. The introduction of Loki sets the agenda for the plot, along with the initially mysterious masked Lumen. And despite the finer points perhaps being easy to miss, the storytelling is, like its predecessor, very well put together. Bayonetta herself comes with a redesign, as does Jean, though remains the same powerful, flirty and mischievous figure we've come to know and love. This is still a game that can be cringe-inducing at times in its portrayal of our hero, though it's dialed back a tiny amount in this sequel. There's still a semi-naked body with special moves comprised of hair and plenty of suggestive dialogue, camera shots and brutal torture moves, but that's simply what you sign up for with this game. And male fantasy accusations aside, our Witch is a dominant character that takes nonsense from no man or woman at any point. At a basic level, you string together combos with a mix of two core attacks, hands and feet, to produce stronger moves and obliterate all comers. There's plenty of complexity besides, however, as you must put most of the gamepad or Pro Controller's inputs to work. The combat here feels tighter and more immediate, certainly a good deal more instinctive and accessible. Witch time, in which you slow time with a well-timed dodge, remains a key mechanic and a main opportunity for putting together stronger combos. It's a subtle tweak, but even in higher difficulties the action feels fairer in this sequel, assisted by clearer enemy attacks and patterns. To be clear, this isn't dumbed down, but better. Attacks flow with a tangible fluidity, and even though you'll be attacking and dodging with lightning-fast button presses, you should always feel in control. A new feature that serves as an accommodation for weaker players, or a vital tool in brutal difficulties, is the Umbran Climax. Once a gauge is filled, Bayonetta can briefly become a great deal more powerful, initiating hugely destructive attacks and combo finishes. In contrast, that same gauge can be exchanged for a torture attack, which can destroy or severely weaken an enemy. It's a useful trade-off as you decide whether you want to initiate crowd control or target one specific enemy. The action certainly gets adrenaline pumping, and Platinum Games has moved a step closer to perfection in its template here. The campaign itself will take 8 to 12 hours, and there's greater variety in the environments throughout that explore fantastical settings in the real world and beyond, while set pieces are occasionally extraordinary. You surf on a cathedral door around a typhoon of water, fight aboard a doomed fighter jet in New York, ride through the depths of hell, and much more besides. There's depth to the campaign, and also far more below the surface in mechanics. There are buff items to collect and forge, along with a collection of varied weapons to find, purchase and combine. And finding a mix of guns, swords and whips that work well for you is a particularly enjoyable part of the experience. The feel of combat and combos changes depending on your setup, and you can equip hands and feet with different types. You can also have two presets that are easily switched mid-battle, with possibilities such as equipping slower, more powerful weapons when the situation suits. On a superficial level, the title looks fantastic, truly putting the Wii U through its paces. A welcome improvement is a far brighter, more vivid palette than the filtered and sombre colours of the original. The enemy designs follow suit with some stunning new creations that bring to mind a mix of gothic horror, medieval tropes and modern flashes of Platinum's own approach. That flashy presentation truly helps with immersion too, sweeping you away in a setting of fantasy and extravagance. Every care has been taken to ensure style meets substance, right down to the fantastic soundtrack, dramatic cutscenes, and occasionally camp voice acting. There are Nintendo-themed outfits, of course, with Samus Aran and the Star Fox-themed options being true standouts, with fun ability variations to match. Related Easter eggs and features such as aiming reticules add to the fun. The Link outfit is also a treat, though the Peach and Daisy variations certainly feature a little submersive sleaziness with blatantly revealing skirts. There are also plenty of other outfits to buy with in-game currency too, in order to shake things up. The shop is also particularly important for buying abilities and equipable items. The depth of the experience is in little doubt, and the campaign's chapters lend themselves, through their compulsive action, to replays, whether looking for hidden items, collectible crows, challenge arenas or encounters that have been missed before. Taking on higher difficulty levels is also worthwhile. There are only occasional scenarios that can frustrate by dropping below the high standard elsewhere, with some boss encounters or on-rail sequences stripping away the freedom of movement that serves the combat so well. We're nitpicking, however, as even the less favoured levels are hugely enjoyable. Importantly, system performance holds up well, which is absolutely vital with an action game heavily dependent on a good frame rate. Dips come occasionally when Umbran Climax is initiated, for example, but it doesn't really matter as your attacks need little finesse to completely flatten enemies in that scenario, and it's clear that the developers have worked hard to ensure that the trickier sequences run smoothly. Technical analysis may show that this title's frame rate fluctuates a little more than the original due to the attractive visuals, yet the gameplay experience doesn't feel compromised. The Bayonetta 2 campaign then is a terrific effort and a proud new representative of how to bring things together in an intense action game in this current generation. As with many modern day efforts however, an online mode must be shoehorned in, and the co-op tag climax mode does feel rather throwaway. Though it is co-op and you can revive each other, the player with the best score wins and receives a sizable Halo bonus. If you don't want to play online or simply want easy wins, you can also play with a CPU. It's functional but unexciting overall, but is necessary due to the huge prizes of Halos on offer. Unlocking all of the moves, goodies and enticing items in the shop will take a particularly long time through replaying campaign chapters alone, so Tag Climax is the best way to make quick money. Even in scripted team-ups within the campaign, it doesn't feel quite as frantic and messy. Tag Climax is then an anti-climax, as is the touch control option on the gamepad. It's functional but unnecessary, an inferior method of control in a game that frankly will never suit gamers who'd sooner use a touchscreen over buttons in the genre. Holding, tapping and swiping works, but it's not a satisfying way to play. Off-TV play, however, is always welcome. In conclusion, Bayonetta 2 is a must-buy for any action gaming fan. It's fast, intense and ridiculous, all with an entertaining story and a protagonist that is forever subverting and playing with her audience. It's pure Platinum Games too, which means it'll likely be adored by its converts and ignored by too many. We hope that won't happen, as what we have here is one of the Wii U's best games, and a rare arrival on the system that's unashamedly violent, gory and mature, while still mischievously winking at the watching world. Bayonetta 2 is brilliant, brash and impossible to ignore. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and head on over to nintendolife.com for all your Nintendo needs.